Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to do a first. We're going to do a walkthrough of Regency RV and their manufacturing facility. Now, we are very excited at National Indoors to partner with Regency because we feel like our philosophies really mesh. When I first started with National Indoor RV Centers, we talked about the 3-point triangle: quality, speed, and cost. And you can only get two. So at National, we're very conscious of quality and cost. You guys will know this because do I do a short video? No. And neither are our walkthroughs. So we want to take our time and make sure that you're getting exactly what you paid for. And I know here at Regency, they're all about quality and cost as well. So I'm thrilled to give you this tour today. First, I'm going to have you meet Wayne Davis. He's the founder and owner of Regency RV.
My name's Wayne Davis. My business is in Fort Worth, Texas. It's Regency RV. I worked with my father in the grocery store business ever since I was 11 years old. And I graduated from high school and I got into the antique car restoration business. And I restored antique classic cars until I got in the van business in '95. Regency conversion vans, trucks, pickups. And I sold that business in 2016. Had all my employees that were with me that had been with me for 25 years. There's probably, I'd say, over half of our employees have been here that long. Just wanted to kind of keep the crew together and keep everything, so we just started building motorhomes. Everything about it, mine has always been about a passion for what I do. And I love the cars. We still have a group of guys that do nothing but restore my cars. We don't work for the public, we do my cars. We have had cars on the field at Pebble Beach, which is probably the biggest honor I'll ever have of doing anything in the automotive side of it, because that is the creme de creme of all of it. That's the granddaddy right there. We control all the quality of the restoration of the cars, same we do with the motorhome. We got our own booths, we do our own paint, we do our own layout. Same facility here that was storing a $1 or $2 million car is the same facility we do the motorhomes. Everything we do in-house. So we've got our own wood shop, we've got our own paint shop. And a lot of people don't have that luxury of having all that. They farm it all out, they bring the cabinets in, they put them in. Every piece of this coach is fit and finished right here on this piece of property. We're a whole lot more than a parts assembler. We're like building a custom home. We can do anything that needs to be done to fit the customer's needs. And of course, a lot of times it slows down the process a little bit, but we want to make sure that they're happy with what they're getting. We like to think that we listen to our customers all the time and we've got the biggest bang for the buck in the industry.
So it looks like I'm here to do a walk around of one of our Regency RVs, but it's not quite a motorhome just yet. So this is where it all begins. This is our raw Mercedes Sprinter chassis. One of the things that Regency does that very few other manufacturers do this is they take off all the parts that can be painted off the chassis. So they're going to take off this handle, this molding here, the bumper, the mirror. As you go inside, everything that you see that's in gray is going to be painted. So the door, the dash here, right when you step in. And why is that important? It's because if I were just to paint this while it's on the coach, you're going to have peeling here. When they paint it all the way around the edges to the back side, the front side, so you're not going to have the quality issues that you would if it was painted on the coach itself. As I go back to my point earlier, the 3 points of the triangle: quality, cost, and speed. They're not concerned with speed. It'd be much faster just to paint this all as it was, but it's the attention to detail, it's the quality that they're concerned with. These are the frame extensions, so they're actually going to be mounted right here. Their job is to support the floor and the walls. And then we've got the chassis here. These are the outriggers. They're going to be placed along the raw chassis here. They're going to give it support, and that's what your storage bays are going to be attached to. And then they're also very careful with the raw chassis that they don't compromise the integrity of that by cutting into it or drilling into it. So they want to keep it nice and strong. Once our frame extensions and outriggers are in place, then we put our floor on. So this is a steel reinforced, not aluminum, steel framed plywood floor. And again, Regency's attention to detail, they do it differently than other manufacturers. So they're going to bolt this to the outriggers and they're going to countersink those bolts. Once they've done that, they'll fill the holes and sand it so you have a perfectly smooth surface to then lay your vinyl on. So why is that important? First of all, it's going to eliminate the popping and creaking that you may get in the floor, and then it gives you a nice flat surface to lay your vinyl on. You'll notice as you go into other coaches, you might see a little lump or hump. those bolts might actually come up through the vinyl, so you're not gonna have to worry about that with the Regency. Now that we've got the floor installed, we're gonna put on the walls, the roof, and the rear cap. Now this is a unique end cap. It's not flat like you see in a lot of other Class Bs. This actually has structure built in with what they call the Christmas tree, which adds to the rigidity of it. Then if you come around the corner here, you can see that we have a full steel bumper. Then you'll note the unique cutout or shape here for the lights. It's because they use the Mercedes lights. They don't just use a cheaper LED rear light. They actually use the Mercedes lights at Regency. So you can get a better idea what that end cap looks like from the inside. I've turned it around here so you can see the shape, the structure that they built in. And then this is the Christmas tree I was telling you about. So it has this base here. The foam is on the branches of the trees, and then it goes up, and again, it just fills that space so you don't have the oil canning when you're going down the road. Regency uses TPO for its roof. So that's thermopolyolefin. And that means that you're not gonna have a rubber roof with the chance of that oxidizing or chalking the sides of your coach. It will give it a seamless roof top, and therefore it will be waterproof. So what they use is this TPO. They use an upgrade TPO that has this felt backing on it. When that is put next to the adhesive, it bonds to the roof. So it gives you a nice water resistant, strong roof. And then as you can see here, they bring it over the edge of the roof. They'll cut it and put a piece of trim. So there's no seam on your roof, again, so that it's waterproof. At this stage of the game, we're gonna go ahead and put in our slide. So Regency uses a slide, which gives us a little extra space when we're in our RV. Regency's external extrusions, or what I like to call trim, makes it a little bit easier. They are all exclusively made for Regency, along with their drip pan, so that as your slide goes in and out, that water will drip down if there is any. It's gonna keep your coach waterproof. So now that the slide's in, what do you think comes next? Cabinetry, plumbing, wiring? Nope, not at Regency. At Regency, we take this to paint now, and I'll tell you why when we get there. At Regency, all their painting is done on site. Most other manufacturers will ship their coaches out to another facility. Everything is done right here. So in the paint booth and bake ovens behind me, that's where the paint happens. In the bake ovens, they bake them at 145 degrees for 45 minutes before they bring the parts out here to dry. So you can see we have all the components that we stripped off the raw chassis. They're here being painted down to the, the outlet and the outlet cover. So everything's done here, very high quality, like you would expect from Regency. So why paint at this stage of the manufacturing process? Couple reasons. First of all, the windows aren't installed yet. So we have paint that goes all the way up and over the edge. We're not masking off and trying to paint around the rubber gasket that holds the window in. Again, the doors aren't installed. Everything's been painted separately. They also use a Sikaflex caulking that they do before they paint. So all the seals have been caulked and painted over, so it just looks beautiful. And then we've installed our Mercedes lights. Again, are we going to worry about overspray on our lights, on our windows, on our doors? Nope, we aren't, because everything was painted separately. This is exactly what you'd come to expect from someone that restores antique cars. The same kind of quality is what they're putting into the Regency product. Let's talk a little bit about the amazing process that they use for painting these Regency coaches. First of all, you saw in the very beginning that the raw chassis comes in, so it's already got paint on it, but we're gonna take it into the paint booth. They're gonna seal it and put 2 coats of white paint over the whole coach. The front, the house, everything. Then they're gonna bring it out, then we're gonna mask it off so that we can paint our graphics. Then we're gonna do at least 2 coats of color for those. We're gonna bring it back out and mask it off again for our main color here. Again, 2 coats of that. They use PPG paint, and then the most important part, what really protects your paint, is your clear coat. And they're gonna do 2 coats of clear. All the cabinetry is made out of 3/4 inch beechwood. Even the veneers are made out of the beechwood. All the workers are custom cabinet makers. They've worked in residential cabinetry, and they make a full cabinet. It's not just a front and a frame with a top on it. Notice on the drawers, They've got the notch drawers so the bottoms aren't just glued or stapled in. We've got the pocket screws. They're not just glued. So everything's done high quality, residential standards. After the cabinets and doors are all assembled, then they're brought here. This is where they stain them. So they hand stain and sand them. So they bring it in here, mist it with a little stain, sand it, then stain it with Sherwin-Williams stain, sand it, clear coat, sand, and another clear coat. So they have a really nice finish. It takes them about a full day to do one set of cabinets for an RV. And you have 3 options. You have the oatmeal, dark chestnut, and cinnamon. Regency fabricates all of its moldings in-house with ABS products. So you can see behind me here, we have the wheel well mold, we have a skylight mold. This is significant for a couple of reasons. First of all, they're not dependent on a supplier to get them the part. So say they're waiting on a shower mold. They can make their own. They don't have to wait for that supplier, say they're a month out. That would delay production quite a bit. Another big thing is a supplier is going to make a part a certain way. So this way they can make the part fit the coach. They're not making the coach fit the part. This is a machine that fabricates the molds. So you can see that we've got the fender well mold on there now. We would put the ABS product sheet through the top here, bring the mold up. Everything's timed, so it would come up, form the mold, it's timed again, it goes back down, and then we're able to let it cool. So here's our finished product, the fender well. Once it's been cut out, it comes out first like this in one big piece. Then they use this router to cut it out, always with the smooth side out, so that we can go and now take it to paint. This coach just came from paint. Before I tell you what happens in this location, I want to point out a few things under here that we've already talked about at the very beginning of the process. All right, so here you can see the frame extension. I talked about this earlier, so that's what the floor sits on. The floor is above it. And then if you follow it back here, we've got our outrigger. So you can see that the floor is supported fully all the way to the end of the coach. We've got the steel bumper. We have the propane tank is put on. We do the wiring here, the pre-plumbing, and the generator is installed. We have the optional hydraulic jacks. That's something that you don't see in many B vans. This is also the stage where your gray, black, and fresh tanks will be installed. Behind me you can see the white tanks. Those are our freshwater tanks. And the black tank, they have the big 3-inch hole, and the gray tank, which has the 1.5-inch holes. So this is where all your soft goods are going to be taken care of. So basically your headliner, your wall, your baseboards, your cushions, all of that happens right here. Again, in-house, we're not waiting for a supplier to do this for us. Another thing they've done is this is the base for our jump seat. So it gives you that spring, and then I'll show you the finished product inside the coach. Now inside the coach, you can see that we have the sub ceiling and the padded vinyl ceiling installed. And then note that we've got a 3/4-inch plywood sub ceiling. This is significant because we're going to screw our cabinets into that versus what you get most Class Bs, which is a 1/4-inch luan to screw into. Now it's time to install the cabinets. So we're going to start at the very rear of the coach. We're going to start at the top, go down the wall, and then to the bottom, and then we work our way forward. That's how they install the coach. I've mentioned a couple of times that they do their cabinetry more residential style. So you'll note that there's a contour to the shape of this RV, and they form those cabinets exactly to that contour. Where most manufacturers would build a square cabinet and then just fill the gap with molding. Regency doesn't do that. Pretty much the rest of the components are installed at this stage. I wanted to let you know that the windows have been installed here, and you can note with no overspray. We also are going to install the awning, the furnace, the wine guard, the AC units here. Pretty much everything gets finished here, and then we just have one more stage that the coach will go through. But I want to draw your attention to these vents here. This is for the refrigerator. So right behind this wall, there's a box here, and by RVIA standards, since the refrigerator is propane, if there's ever any kind of propane leak, it is confined to the box and it won't go inside the coach. Here we are at our final stage. Regency has been more than gracious with their time, but just to tell you what happens here, The exhaust for the engine is installed. Then we have, you can see our generator here, the exhaust for the generator. This is our stinky slinky holder. Right above me here is our gray tank. We can tell because we've got this 1.5 inch tube coming from here, and then our black tank with the 3-inch tube coming off there, so we can connect there for our dump. Now I want you to note that this has been undercoated for sound deadening and insulation purposes, and then above this undercoating is the tank heaters, which have been connected. They're 12-volt tank heaters, and the huge thing about the tank heaters is that they come on automatically once you reach 40 degrees. You don't have to remember to hit a switch. Before we say goodbye to our friends here at Regency, I wanted to point out a few more things that really impressed me with this beautiful coach. First of all, the seat here. So when it comes in from Mercedes-Benz, it's a cloth seat. Regency takes that out, reupholsters it with leather, and just does a beautiful job. Also note, here we are in the cab. Before, at the beginning of the video, I showed you everything that was gray. Now look, that everything that was gray has been painted, beautifully matches the interior of this coach. The handle's been hand dipped. So again, just their attention to detail, their quality is super impressive. And I think that's why we mesh so well together, National Indoor RV Centers and Regency, because we are both concerned with bringing our customers the best quality product that we can. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope that it was educational, that you learned something new, that you're as impressed with this Regency RV as we are at National Indoor RV Centers, and thanks for watching.